Today's topics is going to be a few of them that we've received some questions about. So the first one is going to be NX with Teamcenter from the desktop is how to open the NX batch file that includes Teamcenter integration. Log in using Teamcenter credentials, Teamcenter rich client interface in NX. So reviewing the folder structure in NX, Teamcenter active workspace interface in NX as well. So looking at active workspace, how it looks inside NX and how you can manage the interface from the NX program. We're going to see how to create a new item. I'm going to create a part in NX, save it to Teamcenter. So it's going to be an item revision directly from NX, managed by Teamcenter. And lastly, I'm going to show you guys how you submit a new workflow process. I'm going to go through one for the demo, which is production release. But that's the one I'm going to use for the demo in this instance. And then I will prove it as well, but with another user in active workspace. All right, so how to open an NX batch file that includes Teamcenter integration. Here we have an example of what the batch file consists of. So we're creating a text file that then we're converting it to .bat, and then we're going to copy that into the desktop, which will create a shortcut, and that will allow us to actually use, just like every other user uses native NX, you can actually add the icon of NX so they can just go to it just like they do nowadays. So they don't feel like they have to go anywhere else. This will give them access just like they do now. So one of the things that are set in Teamcenter, when we install TCCS or the connection to Teamcenter, how it communicates to the corporate server, to the database, to the volume where it's being saved and all that is called the FMS home. Here, the FMS home, in this case, is saved under C app Siemens, Teamcenter, TC root, TCCS. The rest of the things are mostly NX variables that we have to get set. So the one is UGI root directory, UGI MGR communication, which is HTTPS. Then in UGI MGR HTTP _ URL, we're going to add what our Teamcenter 4-tier URL is. In this case, I have http:// mine, I put XXX, but that's where you will put the server that's hosting your Teamcenter corporate server. And then the port 8080, which is usually used for HTTP, and that's the interface for TC. Then we will also use Java for the connection between both of them. UGI is just most of the libraries from Java libraries. And then we're going to change to an app Siemens NX 2007 UGI, which is something you install directly when you actually install NX. It will already have that. This is nothing new. This is just a folder to bring UGI. The last thing is going to say, it says UGRAF, and then you're going to say -PIM, yes, and this way it's going to allow you to actually log in using just your username and password from Teamcenter, so then you're already connected inside NX. Again, just really quick, it's a batch file that was created and saved in the desktop to access NX with Teamcenter integrations. So once I double click on the desktop, that icon that I just showed you there, you're going to see a screen. The only difference from native and now is that you're going to see a screen similar to this. All we have to do is username and password. If you're using SSO, LDAP, it'll be a little bit different because you're using session agents, so you might not need to even put in your username and password. You might redirect you to a different page, so then that way it makes the connection with Teamcenter. After you input that information, as you can see, this is my first interface that I'm going to see. As you can see in the top left, it says NX because this is active workspace integration inside NX. All right, so there's a lot of people and a lot of users that are still using the same folder structure that they have in Rich Client. You can still use that in NX with the integration with Teamcenter. The only difference, as you can see on these pictures, is this top one is going to say Teamcenter Navigator inside NX, and this has your folder structure just like you would in your Rich Client. So here's a picture of what I have in this Rich Client, just to show you the example. So the top level is going to be home. You have recents, new stuff, just like you see here. But then when I double click on home, then I have more folders, right? So here, now that I am inside home, just like in here, I can see mailbox, new stuff, and testing part. And if I double click on testing part, now my folder is saying, hey, you're inside testing part. And these are the two parts that you have in there. As you can see from this picture, which is inside the Ridge client, the 4th tier, and inside NX, you can see that they're both aligned. So this is, if you're still using the same folder structure, you feel comfortable using it, you can use that here as well. Now, the difference with Active Workspace is that you actually have the same interface in NX as you do in the web browser, right? So if we want to open the the Active Workspace from a web browser, we'll go to our URL, input our username and password, and this is the interface. The one on the right-hand side that's your interface that you will see. Well, this is the same interface that you will see in NX. So whatever I'm going to show today, which is going to be only inside NX, you can use it in the web browsers with the same exact way. The same features are here. On the top right, you'll see the searching capabilities. So you have advanced searching. In the middle, you have what's called the tiles, also known, if you want to call them shortcuts, because if you're working on a project, you can actually save it here to create a tile. So you save it under home. Next time you access it, you can see anything that you pinged in here. It will be in either of these columns and rows. And on the left-hand side, you have what are your quick links. So you have something more like home. Here, this one has assistance, discussions, folders, active folders, inbox, changes, and the rest. This also depends on the configuration that you have and what access you have. Again, this one is just for demo purposes. You can see that both interfaces are very much the same. One of the things we're also going to do during the demo is that I'm going to walk you through to create a simple part, a new item, which then it creates an item revision from NX, and it's going to be managed by Teamcenter. So the steps are very similar to what you do currently in native. You go to Files, you say New, you say Item. Then you would go to the Model tab. So here, let me go back to step 1. You go to File. Sorry about that. You go to New, you go to Item. And then when you go to model, you'll have all your models here. You say inches, and then that's where you'll select the model. That's currently how you do native NX. This is not changing whatsoever. The difference here is that when you're using Teamcenter to manage your ID and revisions, you'll have to double click on the red star, right? So double click to assign an ID, revision, and name. Automatically, it's going to copy the same ID into the name. Now, the only field that you'll be able to change is the name field. You double click on the name field, you'll be able to change this to whatever name you need to be. Again, it depends on the way that your organization wants you to do your names or descriptions or anything like that. That's what you will put in here. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about also in this interface is that you'll be able to select the project. If you're currently working on a specific project, if you just click on this to the right, you'll have a drop-down list that will then show you the projects you're working on. So if I'm working on project XX1, for example, and I select that project, right away, the part that I'm going to be creating is going to be assigned to that project. Again, these are set up by your administrator, your super users, anybody in your organization that is controlling what access you have. They'll be creating the projects that will allow you access to those projects and whatever you need to do. And the last thing is the folders. Here on the right-hand side at the bottom, you can actually create a folder right away from NX in Teamcenter. And it's going to appear in Active Workspace and it's going to appear in the Ridge client. So you actually can create a new one if you didn't do it before. If you're not working on a folder you already created, you can also create a new one with a new name. And I'll show you guys when I go into my VM to give you the demo. The last thing that we're going to do is going to be using the Active Workspace interface within NX to submit this part that we're going to create into a workflow. So the way that you would do it is that you will navigate to the item, revision, or select multiple revisions. You don't have to select one. If you go to the folder, you can select multiple ones. And then you go to the right-hand side and say manage and then submit to workflow. Once you do that, this new submit to workflow window will appear. In my case, I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to select production release, which is the one that I'm going to use in this demo. Again, depending on your organization, you might have different templates here. You might have custom workflow templates, but this is how you will be able to select what you want to use. And lastly, once you press submit, the first thing that I have on my workflow is that it's going to come back to me to a self-check, right? After that, I have to select a sign-off team, which I can also do from NX, and then I'll submit it to that person. The only difference here in my demo that I'm going to show you guys is that I have already accessed the checker user and password in my web browser. So then once I submit it through my author, my checker, I can do it right away and show you guys how it looks, how the process looks. In your case, you will probably have different users signing in different ways. For the workflows, if you want to check what process, who has to check off, what has been completed, inside NX, just like Active Workspace, you can go to Workflow tab, and you can see what has been approved and what's not approved yet. And also on the right-hand side, if something's already approved, you'll see the flags. So in my case, I'm using, which is status 60, but I'm using the green flag, which is 60. And then if I go to my attachments, I can see what attachments have been done, or data sets have been approved. In the attachments, that's where you see all the data sets. All right, with that being said, let me jump into my VM to show you guys. Second. Okay. So this is Active Workspace in the web browser. Again, I just logged in because this is going to be the user I'm going to use to do the approvals. Here's my NX. I already showed you guys the batch file. Once I press enter, you will still see this. So I'm going to say enter my username, my password, press enter. Now what's doing in the background is going to take a little bit, but what's going to be doing in the background is that it's going to go back to the corporate server. Number one is going to check that that username and password exist. Number two, that you have an active license, that you have an author, consumer, whatever license it is that you're going to use. And then it's going to actually log you into NX just like you would natively. All right, I'm going to just expand this a little bit more. As you can see, here are my Teamcenter icons where I can navigate to the folder structure as I showed you. If I go to home, double click, it'll go further into my homes. Here I have a few more parts. Here my CES presentation, here's a part. But if I go to this one here that says Active Workspace, then I can see my whole Active Workspace. Again, I can minimize it from here and then have my NX. And I will do that when I create the part, or I can maximize it in case I need to work inside my Active Workspace. Same functions as you'll have from your web browser, you'll have them here as well. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is to create a new item. So file, new item, just like you would do right now. My first tab is going to be model. Select this model, say inches. Double click here. It gave me the 156. That's the next number available in Teamcenter. And as you can see here, it gave me revision A. If I say, let's just say testing part, on the right-hand side, I'm going to actually show you how you create a new folder. Yes, I have a CS presentation, but I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to create that folder. I'm going to go up one level. I'm going to create it here. So let's create a new folder. And I can say CES test. Once I press enter, it's going to show up. Make sure that you double click on that folder so that it shows up here looking in. If I do OK here, it's going to save it under home. But if I do CS test, double click, make sure I'm in there, say OK. Now you can verify that you are inside the specific folder. Once I have that done, I'll go ahead and say OK. Now it knows the name, the item ID, the item revision, and this is the name of my part. I'm going to go ahead and say sketch, just like you would. Top section, top here, so make a rectangle, extrude, that's fine. All right, one of the next things that I always recommend our customers doing is using your NX and your client machine to the full use that you can do. Meaning, yes, Teamcenter can create your JT files if you don't create them right away. But NX has the functionality that you can actually create those JT files when you're saving that specific part in Teamcenter. That way you don't have to go back. You don't have to make sure, hey, I can't view my JTs or anything like that. So go ahead and go to File, go to Save, and we'll go to Save Options. Now, maybe your team already has organization, already created some site settings, and this would be selected. In my case, I don't have site settings, so I'm just setting them up right now. I'm just going to checkbox this that says Save to JT data. Once I say OK, and I go up here to this floppy disk up here that says Save, or do Control S, which is the hotkey. Then now it's doing the whole saving in Teamcenter. So if you see down here, you'll see a message afterwards. It says Save successful. What this means is I was able to submit this to my Teamcenter. My attributes were sent to my SQL. In this case, I'm using SQL, but whichever database you're using, it stores your attributes, other metadata. But then also my part file not only gets saved in the cache, which is local to this computer, to the server that I'm using, but it's also being saved to my volume, which is residing in my server. Now that way, anybody that needs to use it, they're not coming into my computer to get that file out to be used, but they're going to the corporate server to get it. So next thing that I'm going to do, in this case, since I just created this part and I saved it to Teamcenter, I'm going to say close. But now I'm going to go to folders. And I'm going to show you guys in folders the new folder that I created, CES Test. In CES Test, I'm going to see the part that I was telling you about. So if you see this here, I have the part. I can look in overview, which has a lot of the information, attributes. If I have any custom attributes, it will appear here. This is where the JT will get saved, but let's go to attachments and I'll show you guys. If I had not clicked Save JT, you will not see that direct model in this case. But since I did, it was created right away with when I saved the part. If I go to History, same thing as Active Workspace. If I have more than one revision here, I will see revision A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever revisions, or 1, 2, 3, depending on your organization, that's where you will see the revisions. So you gotta go to history and look at that. There's a lot of other things here. I'm going to an overview because I want to show you guys the workflow process, how to submit it, how to get it approved. But once you have it selected, if you have multiple parts here, you can go to select mode. Once you have checkbox, if there's multiple here, then once they're checked, you can go to the right-hand side, say manage. And once you see this, you can see what it says, submit to workflow. So I click that submit to workflow. I am going to use all because that's where my templates are. And once I go, I have my drop-down menu. I have on my end, I have a lot of them here. In your end, depending on what your organization has set up for all of you guys. So I'm going to look for production release, which is right here. You can add a name to it. You can add a description to it. Just make sure that all your targets are in this area. What targets are is what's going to be used in the workflow to submit to the other users or the managers that are going to be approving it. So whatever's under targets, that's where you're going to add to it. You can also add references if you want. In my case, I'm just going to submit this part. I'm going to say submit. This is the first step to create the workflow. Mind you, I'm still using NX. This is my NX interface. So you can see now I have my workflow symbol here, meaning it's going through the workflow process. Now I have a number 1 in my inbox. If I go to my inbox, I should have now perform sign off, select that. And my first action will be to self sign off, meaning I checked everything is fine, and I want to go ahead and approve it. Okay, the next thing is going to be select sign off team. Why? Because I got to send it to that specific team, that specific person that's going to be doing this. So I'm going to go to my required, say 1, say plus, and now I'm going to select. I'm not going to select the engineering team, but I'm going to say B-Day because that's the user I'm using at the moment. I'm going to say add. And then once I say add, now I'm able to say complete. If I have not added that person or that one reviewer, that's manager that is needed, then I wouldn't be able to say complete. So in this case, I'm going to say complete. And now it's out of my inbox. As you can see, it's out of my inbox. But I could track it if I want to over here. So I can track it if I want because it's out of my inbox, but now it's going to B-Day, which is him right now. If I refresh here, you will see that now I have something in my inbox. I can go to here, and now I need to perform the sign off, right? So in this case, here it is. I have my test part, my UG master. I have my Rev A, which is here. This is the information that I need to use to approve it. If I want to double check it, I can open it, select here. I can say open a new tab, open a new window. If I need to do anything, this is where I'll need to get my information out of. They say I have everything approved. It's okay with me. I want to accept it. I'm going to say approve. Once I have this done, then it's out of my inbox. Again, there's nothing else for me to do. That was just my checker that needs to approve it. And just to show you the last thing is if I go back into here, into my home, I go to folders and I look for CES test folder. Here's one part that this is the part that I send out to get approved. As you can see here, status 60. If I select it, then I can see more information on the right-hand side. If I go to workflow, not only you will see that everything was approved, but you will also see what the approval process was at the bottom. Okay, so this is how you submit to a workflow. This is how you submit to a checker to make sure that it approves that. And this is the workflow process. Again, everything I showed you guys was inside NX. This is how you can manage the Teamcenter integration within NX, and I don't have to go into my rich client or a web browser to do the work that I need to do as a designer. NX with Teamcenter from desktop. I'm just going through the same agenda. Is how to open it from the desktop. Second, show you guys the interface, how to log in, your username, your password. That's all you need. Third thing I showed you guys was the different interfaces. So the rich client interface, which has the folders, the active workspace interface, which is just like the web browser. And the last two things was how to create a part or an item with an item revision and a part within NX, manage it within Teamcenter. So allow a part ID or revision and all that be managed by Teamcenter, and also submit a new item revision to a workflow process.
Thanks for checking out our channel. If you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for the latest engineering news and information. And to see all of our upcoming events, please visit our website at saratech.com/events.